Hello, Serious Survivor here. And today we're going to look at the Kohler enCube 1.8. And as you can see in this picture, I've already got it connected, but we're going to look at the process of setting this up, connecting it to solar panels. It has a built-in charge controller and inverter, of course, because this is a generator unit. But we're going to look at running the cables and connecting this up and seeing just how simple it actually is. And this is the first in a series of many different solar devices that I'm going to be showcasing. As we can see, I've started up here with some more solar equipment, and I'm going to be adding more to that with batteries that I'm actually making myself using lithium ion and also lithium iron phosphate batteries. So we're going to look at a lot of different things, but today we're going to start with this simple one here. Now this is the Kohler enCube. It has an input voltage range of 10.7 to 15.5 volts DC. The rated input range is 12.5 volts. The maximum input current on this is 190 amps, and the output voltages are two 120 AC ports that we can see down here on the front, and also two DC car adapter ports, and as we can see on this side, two USB 5-volt ports. Now this is rated for 1440 watt with surge up to 1800 watts or 1.8 kilowatts. So this unit can also be, if we can see back here, I'm going to tilt it forward, you have battery connectors on both sides. I'm not sure how the lighting is going to show on this. A positive and negative terminal so that you can wire batteries in parallel to this device so that you can increase the storage capacity. One thing about wiring batteries in parallel with one another is with this type of device, I want to make sure to use the same types of batteries. This is what's called an AGM battery. So I'm going to want to use another AGM when I run two batteries in parallel with this, and that'll give me approximately 60 amp hours at that point. It's a bad idea to mix batteries. I know some people do it with success, but to get the most efficient use out of each of your batteries, you're going to want to use the same types. But here we're just wiring this up and we're going to expand on it later. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Are you happily putting your life savings on the stock market right now, despite the dangers? If you've been thinking about investing safer so you can retire comfortably and sleep at night, you could do worse than talking to a Noble Gold expert about the tax advantages and other pluses of precious metal IRAs. Of course, you might just love uncertainty, but if you don't, you can get a free America the Beautiful solid silver 5-ounce coin with any qualifying plan you start. Call 877-646-5347 or visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com.
All right, and these are the cables. These are 100 feet cables. I have a positive and negative cable. So these are going to be what I actually connect to the solar panel, and then I'm going to connect them to the other end of the cables we just saw on the wall. But as you notice when you get these, they'll have a connector on one end, but they don't on the other. And the reason for that is because some types of charge controllers, like for example this type of charge controller here, which I'm using for a later project, it doesn't have the connectors. You basically just wire this in to these kinds. So that's why they're like that. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm actually going to have to crimp and solder on a connection here and a connection here. And these are the connectors here. And there's two different types because they basically slide into each other. If you look at the two here with this positive, if you can see in there, you'll see that it has the pin type of connector. And here we have the female end or the shaft internal to this. So this plugs into here, but the connector inside of here actually slides inside this connector. So you always want to make sure to match your connectors up right. Now I'm going to come off of this one. I have a female end here, so I know my other one out there, I need a male end right here. So I'm going to plug a male end right here and basically going to do this. Remember, the male end needs the large one. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to solder a little bit. So now I'm going to slide it in here. As you can tell, I still got a lot to do inside my building here to make everything better to work with. So I'm just going to make sure here. So now I'm going to connect the connector on. So for this one, I need a male connector. see it already had 2 in there. And I need a male connector. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to slide this on and slide this on. And this is going to tighten down on itself, basically. So let's go all the way in. There we go. And there we go. So that should be good. That's good for the positive. Now I'm going to do the negative. And now I'm going to place this. Remember, that's 2 parts, and you want to make sure you put it in that way. I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to go here, and now I'm going to come down. And make sure I'm in all the way. All right, I have 2 60-watt panels. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wire these in a parallel circuit. So I'm going to have these Y branch connectors. Now, you can get the ones that are 2 to 1. You can get for multiple parallel circuits that are like 8 or 10 to 1. So basically, I'm going to plug in 2 positives and 2 negatives into the same Y connector and then run those straight to the generator here on the positive and negative lead on the back. So that way I'm able to pull more amps out of it while maintaining just the 12 volts voltage. So let's go hook these up. All right, so now we're going to take the cables and we're going to connect them here. And these are where the Y branches are going to go. We have 4 cables coming off of these solar panels. And right here, we're going to go positive and negative, and a positive and negative. But we're wiring these in parallel, which means all the positives go to the same place and all the negatives go to the same place. That's what your parallel basically means. We'll get more in depth on that on a later video. And Alex is going to connect the Y branches to it. Okay. All right, good. So there's one side. Now we're going to Y branch the others. Great. So we're going to connect the positive to the positive Y branch we have here. All right. And there we go. So now we're going to connect the negative to the negative Y branch. All right. All right, so now we're just basically going to run the cables over to the inlet over here. And as you can see, the other ends of the cable coming directly from the generator inside will also need to be crimped and a connector placed onto each of them. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll get it connected right up. All right, and now we're going to connect them to the generator. All right, now we're just going to connect the panels to our generator. I'm going to put the positive and the negative here. And that's the basic solar panel setup there. That enCube 1.8 generator, you know, any type of generator like that is a really good device to have. And a lot of those output a lot of power. This one I'm working with today, you know, is 1.8 kilowatts with a continuous of 1.4 kilowatts. So that's a good bit of energy for me to work with in the shop and the building next door. And maybe even for the yurt across the way there. I'm hoping I can power the devices I need to power in there. So I'm like, I want to take a lot of older things, and I'm going to be trying to make a lot of things work and spreading solar power out throughout the whole area that we have here, because we're going to be expanding down towards the property there with some decks and things like that. And I want to be able to power everything with solar, including the house. And I'm going to do it system by system. Instead of one huge system that runs me $20, $30, $40, even $50,000 with a huge power bank, I'm going to be building a lot of power cells myself. And I'm going to be using things like these right here. These 18650 batteries. These are 3.6 volts, 2.6 amp or 2600 milliamp. And you can build some really powerful batteries out of these by welding them together. And we're going to look at how to do that in a lot of upcoming videos. So there's going to be a lot of solar videos. There's going to be a lot of homesteading videos because we decided that we're going to go, I don't want to say off grid right now, but we're decided that we're going to become self-sufficient here. We're going to be growing some food pretty soon and probably building a chicken coop before long, and definitely solar power. And I've got a well back here that I'm going to run. So there's going to be a lot of really cool videos coming up on the channel. Make sure to check them out. Thanks a lot for watching. God bless. And for now, Serious Survivor.